It's not a stranger's house. It's my dad's house.
A girl suddenly appeared at home while my husband was on a business trip, and she seemed to be looking for her father. I thought she was lost, but the girl had our spare key. I took her to the police station. The policeman looked at her and told me something strange.
My husband Tom is a 50-year-old office worker. He is in a managerial position.
We have a son in college. He is currently studying abroad, but after graduation, he plans to stay there to work. He will be on his own, and my husband is busy with work. I spent most of my time at home alone. I thought about doing some work in my free time, so I asked my husband about it.
Taking care of the house is part of your job, isn't it? I heard there are a lot of burglars around our neighborhood these days. It's not safe to be away from home.
As he said, there have been a lot of burglaries in the neighborhood recently. Most of the burglaries have targeted the homes of working parents who are away from home.
Especially because our house is the biggest around here. We could be targeted anytime.
The house was built on land I inherited from my grandfather and was quite spacious. Therefore, we are always careful about security measures. Security cameras are installed at the entrance and in the parking lot. However, I was worried about burglars because I was away from home at the designated time.
My husband said something that aggravated my anxiety. But you know what? Security cameras only show the outside of the house. Once they get inside, they can do whatever they want. So, I think we need security cameras inside the house, too. Thieves can get inside the house.
If there's a camera, they'll leave right away.
I think you're right.
My husband installed an indoor security camera. I thought our house would be safe now with it. But then, something much worse than a burglar was caught on the camera. One day, while I was cleaning the house, I heard the doorbell ring. I looked at the monitor and saw a girl about 6 to 8 years old.
Hello?
Is my father there?
I was puzzled by the girl's question, but it's a kid thing. I thought she must have misunderstood something.
Oh, sweetie, you're in the wrong house. What happened?
It's not wrong. This is my dad's house.
The girl on the screen kept saying that. I thought this must be a lost child.
You must be lost. I'll go to the police station with you. Wait a sec.
I went back to my room to grab my bag, then I returned to the front door and opened it. But the girl was already gone. As it was a strange event, it bothered me for a while. Then something even stranger happened. One day, when I returned from an outing, I felt something strange inside the house. The house had not been ransacked, but I found that things were misplaced, and the drinks in the fridge were running low. This continued for several days. At first, I thought it was just my imagination, but it happened again and again. I began to feel creepy. When I talked to my husband about it, he laughed and said that he was the one who took the drink, and nothing had changed in the arrangement of things.
Are you getting forgetful already? It's weird. Let's see if there's anything on that security camera.
Alright, then I'll keep the camera for a while so I can check it later.
With that, he hurriedly retrieved the indoor security camera. The next day, my husband came home from work and told me that he had something important to talk to me. He had a grim look on his face and I felt uneasy.
Annie, what's wrong? You look scary.
You're having an affair behind my back, aren't you?
For a moment, I did not understand what my husband was saying. I couldn't reply as quickly as I could.
I know everything. Look at this.
He held out several photos in front of me. The photos showed a man and a woman hugging each other. The man is half naked. The woman was wearing the same clothes as me, though I could not see her face. Most surprisingly, the place where they were hugging each other in the picture was in this room. What are these?
Don't play dumb.
You brought a man into my house, didn't you? Gives proof.
No. No way. It's not me. Where did you get these photos?
These are from the security camera inside the house. I was betrayed by my wife.
Wait, that's not me. Trust me.
I was desperate to get my husband to trust me. The woman in this picture is facing backward. Her face is not in the picture, and her clothes are similar to mine. The man's face was in the picture, but I didn't know who he was. Who else would do this in this house but you? We'll get divorced. I'm gonna make you pay for alimony for the adultery. I'll get you for this. With that, my husband left the room. To my surprise, my husband did not believe any of my claims. He started to ask me for a divorce. I was more angry than sorrow at his one-sided attitude. Sometime later, my husband had to go on a business trip. When he left home, he said to me, "Listen, before I come back from my business trip, file the divorce papers. In exchange for alimony, the house and the land will be in my name. Find your place to move to." I was wondering how I could get rid of his doubts about that. The picture was definitely inside the house. The only people who had free access to the house were me, my husband, and my son, who had the key. I decided to call my son to make sure.
Hello? I'm sorry to call you. I know it's nighttime there. I really need to ask you something.
It's okay. What's wrong, Mom? I made up my mind and asked him if he had given anyone the key to the house. He was very surprised to hear that we were about to get divorced. He assured me that he had kept the key to the house and had never lent it to anyone. I believe you, Mom. Call me if you need anything. My son encouraged me with these words, but as long as the key to the house was kept only by my family members, it was difficult for me to clear my name for bringing the adulterer into the house. One day when I returned from an outing, I found the front door unlocked. I remembered the burglar and was startled. Fearfully, I opened the door. I found a small pair of shoes in the doorway. They were a girl's shoes. And in the kitchen, I saw the girl who had come to visit me one day.
Oh, you're that girl from the other day. What are you doing here?
I'm waiting for my dad.
The girl walked into the kitchen with a familiar look on her face. She opened the fridge, took out a drink, then drained the juice without stopping for a breath. And she tossed the empty can on the floor and sat down on the sofa in the living room. Now she started to watch TV using the remote controller. I was dumbfounded by her actions, but I suddenly came to my senses.
Hey, why are you here? I mean, who let you in my house in the first place?
I was so startled that my voice was getting louder. The girl stared at me in surprise. I asked again, my voice a little gentler.
You see, this is my house. How did you get in here when it was locked?
I got the key from my mom.
Your mom? Why does your mother have the key to my house? You can't just go into someone's house.
It's not someone's house. It's my dad's house.
Daddy, I think you have the wrong house. What should I do?
It seemed that this child was meeting her father. I don't know why he let her in my house, but it didn't seem like a good idea to leave the little girl alone in the house. Her parents might be looking for her. Above all, it was a little creepy to see a girl chilling out at a stranger's house.
Hey, let's go to the police station with me. I'll ask the policeman to find your father.
When I said this, the girl looked confused.
No,
Why not?
because I would get into trouble.
I could not believe my ears.
What do you mean, get into trouble? You were talking about the policeman? Why do you think so?
A friend of my mother's always tells me that the police are bad.
I was relieved to know that she was just copying her mother's friend's words. But I was worried about what kind of mother would say such things in front of her child.
Don't worry, I'll tell the policeman. Sounds good?
As I said this, the girl's face finally brightened.
Really? Thank you. You know, I can stay at home and help my mom.
Oh, that's great. What's your name?
Julia.
Holding her hands, I walked toward the police station. The girl pointed at the houses on the side of the road and said,
You know, I've stayed at that house and that house over there.
That's amazing.
I was not quite sure what she meant. I was listening to the girl's story, not really understanding what she meant. At the police station, I explained the situation to the policeman. The policeman spoke gently to the girl. Do you know your father's or mother's phone number? The girl nodded. She nodded and pulled out a notepad from her pocket. I casually looked at the note and was surprised. The phone number on it was my husband's.
Why? This is my husband's phone number.
With that, the policeman had a complicated look on his face. He said in a whisper, I'm sorry to ask, but does your husband have a child elsewhere? Under the circumstances, I can only assume that this child is the one. As I was just in awe, the police officer added, Also, actually, this girl looks like the girl that a suspect was taking with. Excuse me for asking, but could you show me a picture of your husband, please? My mind went blank. Come to think of it, the houses the girl said she'd been staying at were all houses that had been burglarized. I was terrified. I showed the policeman my husband's picture on my phone. The police officer took out some materials and began to compare the photos in them with my husband's. Obviously, he was a different person. The police officer's photo seemed to be from a security camera. I recognized his face.
Oh, this man. Look at him.
From my bag, I pulled out an evidence photo of the affair that my husband had shown me the other day. And I was sure it was the same man. The policeman asked the girl, "Do you know this man?"
Yes. This is my dad, and this is a friend of my mom's.
I finally understood what was going on. This girl's mom is my husband's cheating partner, and this girl is his illegitimate child. And then I realized that my husband was using the cheating partner and the man to take pictures. The man to take pictures to make up a story about my infidelity. And I guessed that they entered my house using the key my husband had given them, so that they could be seen on the security camera we had set up.
You know what? My mom went to hang out with her friends.
So, I'm gonna stay at my dad's house. The policeman and I looked at each other. Could it be that my husband's cheating partner has another man to have an affair with? Besides, with a habitual burglar, I can leave the burglary to the police. But first of all, we need to protect this girl. If he really is her father, he has a responsibility as a guardian. I called him this.
What the hell do you want? Have you finished moving out yet?
I have someone I'd like you to talk to. I put the phone on speaker. I handed the girl the phone.
It's me. I went to my dad's house.
What? Julia?
I'm so proud of you, Daddy. It's great that you know her name so well.
Huh? What are you talking about? I don't know anything.
Daddy, Mommy's not back yet.
Who is it? I don't know that girl.
Dad, it's Julia. Why are you saying that?
The girl started to cry. Why are you saying that? I couldn't let the girl hear his abusive language anymore. So,
You know, I already know everything. Do you know where I am right now?
I don't even need to know. You're the one who brought the cheating partner into our house. Shut your mouth.
I know how you took that picture too. And I'm at the police station. And you know what? The police showed me some photos of the burglar.
What? A burglar? What's the hell going on all of a sudden?
my husband was puzzled by the turn of events. I patiently and calmly explained to him.
The man in the picture you arranged is wanted for the burglary. By the way, that man is out for a sleepover with your cheating partner. She left Julia behind.
Oh my gosh.
If you have any parental love left in you, either take Julia back or call her mother.
I'm warning you, this is a police matter. They won't tolerate any deceit. You know that, right? As he gave them the number of the woman he was having an affair with. The police took action immediately. An application was filed with the court for a search and seizure warrant. A warrant was issued requesting the cell phone company to disclose their location information. Based on that location information, my husband's cheating partner and the burglar were caught by the police. She had been two-timing my husband and the burglar. She had been coming in and out of my house with the burglar since she obtained the spare key to my house. The burglar was targeting luxurious houses around my neighborhood during their absence. In those cases, he would take Julia with him to make it look like they were father and daughter so as not to arouse suspicion. Julia must have learned bad words at that time. The woman with whom he was having an affair, she wanted money to play with, so she cooperated with his bad deeds. My husband, unaware of this, was forced to marry her. They made up a picture of the woman in my clothes and the burglar embracing each other. And they tried to blame me for the divorce. I divorced my husband and filed for alimony. As for his cheating partner, in addition to alimony, I filed a damage report for trespassing. Julia was taken in by the parents of her mother. I was relieved to hear that they, who are Julia's grandparents, were good people. My ex-husband was going to continue to pay child support to her grandparents. I filed a report of defamation against him for making up false accusation of adultery. It turned out that he had been dipping into the company's money to spend money on her, and he was fired. He is now working as a day laborer and living in a cheap motel. I did not want to continue to live in the house where a burglar and an unfaithful woman had entered. And since my son was going to work overseas after he graduates, I did not need a house so big just for myself. So, I decided to remodel my house and rent it out. My son agreed to that. He invited me to move to the country where he lives, and now I'm working for a restaurant as a Japanese staff member. This restaurant will become my son's workplace after he graduates. Fortunately, I was skilled at Japanese tea ceremony and ikebana, so I was able to educate the staff in Japanese hospitality and culture, which led to gaining their trust. I thought my life was over after the divorce, but in a new place I was able to make a second start in my life. In this new environment, I will enjoy my life and work hard. I will enjoy my life and work hard to become an independent woman.